T. McGuitch. Next, we'll have roll call, please, Regina.
Kathy Javers,
Here.
Eric Giesick,
Here.
Shane Drift.
You know, Mom.
Looking at-
You know, Mom.
Oh, no, one of those meetings.
Travis Morrison,
Here.
Robert Moyer.
Here.
Okay, with that, next, next we have approval of the agenda. And we do have some additions, I believe. Regina, you want to? Leah Mascusi, or I'm sorry, how do you say her name?
Julie Scoblin's
Oh,
gonna be
Julie,
presenting.
okay. Where do you want to put Julie?
Let's do after Terry Morrison and then before Tony Wakeham.
Okay, after Tara Moore, so Julie's with the pharmacy, Boys Fort Pharmacy.
Just a pharmacy change.
Okay. And what else do we have? Is there any other additions to the agenda?
I'd like to add a discussion regarding a resolution allowing our secretary treasurer to do her job.
Okay, is Jeff on? Okay, all right. Jane has, we'll put Shane after Luke. Is that okay at the end there?
Yep.
Okay. Regarding the resolution. Okay. All right. Next, we have a motion to approve the agenda with those additions.
Move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, sorry. Silent, opposed, silent, motion carried. I see on our agenda, it says September 6, 2023, meeting minutes are not ready. So do I have a motion to table the September 6, 2023 meeting minutes? Moved by Tara,
Second.
second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda, and I'll read the consent agenda. Approve sole source request to teaching strategies for Head Start curriculum in the amount of $15,077, which was approved 400. Approve the WEX fuel card policy and user agreement 400. Approved authorization to submit the 2024 105L lease renewal, which was 400. Approved wild rice memo for 2023 ricing season, which was 310. Approved FY24 Head Start grant submission 400. Approved joint letter on school trust land exchange 400. Approved HAF policy to remove requirement contractor be licensed and insured 400. Approved RFP for home demolition and cleanup services for 7 homes in Net Lake, 400. Approved to select PSC, Personal Security Consultants, Inc. for adjudication training through ARPA, 400. Approved stop loss renewal rate 6.5% for 2024 calendar year, 400. Do we have a motion or is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
Yes, for the consent agenda, I'd like to point out on letter D, approved wild rice memo for 2023 ricing season. I was the one that opposed it. And the reason being that it wasn't in our band members' best interest. That's why I opposed it. Regarding the letter on the school land, is that, my concern with that is that it's going to minimize the area in which our band members can exercise their treaty rights. And it doesn't benefit us. When I asked, it doesn't benefit us in any way. It doesn't benefit Boys Fort. Yesterday during our meeting, I asked if there were any previous school trust land exchanges before. We had one person from the Forestry Service say yes, and we had another one say no. So I asked that basically to find out for sure, to get to the truth to that. And then for the letter G, approve the policy removing requirement contractor to be licensed and insured. Number one, I asked that, that the bank could not be held liable, and, the bank can't be held liable. So that's why I went with it, because I checked first with our band attorney if Jeff's on the line. And, also I know that it was a hindrance to our band members, our elders that were seeking, uh, there was a hardship on them. There was another, hoop to jump through that was difficult for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. With regards to the school trust land exchange, we asked for conveyance be listed there instead of exchange, but the Fond du Lac, Bois Forte, and Grand Portage bands are meeting with the U.S. Forest Service regarding that issue and other issues regarding the U.S. Forest Service, and the school trust land exchange is a part of that. So yesterday we had a meeting with Chief Moore from Washington and the U.S. Forest Service with regards to concerns and whatever. But we are having quarterly meetings with the U.S. Forest Service regarding our MOU and also issues with U.S. Forest Service land that come up in whatever capacity or whatever projects they're working on and stuff. Again, Shane mentioned the HAF policy to remove requirement contractor be licensed and insured. There was a issue in the HAF policy is a homeowners assistance fund, and that's a ARPA project that homeowners can apply for if they were arrears in their taxes, insurance, payments. But there's also a portion of it that can be used for home repairs. And so for the home repairs, there was the council did approve the contractor be licensed and insured with the state of Minnesota. However, we found that to be a hindrance for the tribal members because we can't find licensed contractors. First of all, they're very busy, no matter who they are, whether it's construction, electrical, plumbing, whatever it may be. So that kind of delayed some of the work. And a lot of our elders too were looking that it's coming winter and they needed some of their things to be fixed. So the council felt it was in the best interest of the program to remove the requirement for contractor be licensed. And like Shane said, there is a statement in there not holding the band liable, and they realize that those are the repairs that will be made for that. We are in the process of cleaning up services for 7 homes in Net Lake this year. An RFP has gone out. Next year will be Indian Point and Vermilion. We realize there's some abandoned homes or demo homes that need to be removed, so we can either put additional housing on them or be using the lots for whatever. So with that, if there's no other discussion, I would like to call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to comment
Sure.
on why I voted to approve the wild rice.
Oh, okay.
That same one which is D approved wild rice
Yes.
memo for the racing season. I made comment, I voted to approve. In an email dated 9/5/23 by CFO, it was noted DNR had a shortfall of 83,500. I authorized through ARPA funds. Now I wanted to make sure that it was ARPA funds, not our own tribal funds or anything that we have here, any savings for the shortfall. And this is my statement, restricting band members for the selling of their green rice to each other for the first 14 days for the sole purpose of RTC DNR to buy is drastic. I, as a current council member, will not compete with the Bois Forte DNR to buy green rice on a large scale. This was noted as the main reason why Bois Forte DNR needed to go this route. They were constantly getting people at the shoreline and, so that's the only reason that they wanted to put this stipulation in, because they weren't getting their quota. And I'm not sure if they even got their quota this year. I don't think they reached it. So I wanted to make sure that I, as a council member, will not compete or buy up rice for myself or whatever, And that's why I went ahead and approved it for that stipulation.
I think to note too is that even though I oppose this policy, is that I did have some band members approach me and wanted to sell their rice to me, and I had to turn them down because of this policy. So
And I know the issue of rice buying has been brought up many times to us about individuals. Do we know if they're tribal members, actually, some of them that are buying the rice on the shores? I know that there's elders that do buy rice because they can't go out or have family members that can go out and pick for them. So it has become an issue over the years. And I know that also that competing tribes, not competing tribes, but White Earth and Fond du Lac, we're buying their green rice at $6 a pound. And so it's a very contentious issue at times. But at least, we had a bumper crop. It was wonderful. It was nice to see. But we do run into those issues, it seems, depending on how the season is and things that come up differently each year with regards to either rice buying, opening the lake, or whatever it may be. So I appreciate that information getting out to our tribal members this morning. Thank you, Tara and Shane.
I'd just like
Robert?
to weigh in. My take on it all was we really did not stipulate what somebody does with what they get off the lake. I mean, it asked more or less kind of, to me, kind of wanted, people to get it to the DNR and stuff. If it would have been enforced, I would have voted against it. But as this not with no enforcement of who
Mm.
they were selling their rice to was not being done, I was fine with just us saying, please let's get DNR their rice, but in all, I didn't think it was us telling anybody what to
Yep.
do with their take of the rice. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Next, we have Esther Connor. And she's not here, so we'll just move on in case she comes later. Lance Hill. Resolution 23-2024 lease modification for Gary Donald. Good morning.
Seen a red light. We're good. All right. All right. I'm kind of going off memory. I didn't know this would be on the agenda, but Gary Donald has an active lease on Whiskey Point, and he's looking for a lease modification in which he would be removing his daughter, Caroline,
Oh, okay.
who passed away, and he would be adding his granddaughter, Joanna, to the active lease.
Okay. Do we have a motion is there questions or anything? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve resolution 23-2024 lease modification for Gary Donald.
Move. Second.
Moved by Travis, seconded by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Good job, Lance. Thank you. Miigwech. Oops. Next, we have Amber Zapata with the FY24 SNAP Ed Seeds contract with Software Touch Corporation. Amber's not on yet either. Okay. We'll move on to Carol Burr. Resolution 24-2024 Midwest Tribal Energy Resources Association membership. Morning, Carol. Oops.
So I have a resolution to join the MTerra group, and MTerra is Midwest Tribal Energy Resources Association, and so they would be a very good entity to be a part of. We're the only tribe out of the 6 Minnesota tribes that are not participating with this organization. With all the renewable energy and all of that information that's out now and the money that's available, I believe this would be a good fit for us. And they could help us. They have like TA and whatnot. So we do need to decide though, we need to assign a person that would attend the meetings, and I believe they're all virtual. and one alternate, and I
Okay.
didn't know who you wanted that to be because there was discussion about too much on everyone's plate.
Mhm.
So I would recommend Luke. No, I'm just kidding. But no, whoever you guys
Good one,
want.
Carol. Good one.
I was gonna say Kim.
And Carol, thank you for bringing this resolution, but and also thank you to you and Doris for attending this meeting where this came up with the Midwest Tribal Energy Resources Association membership, because if we're not involved or don't have a seat at the table, we're not aware of what's going on. And there is tons of money coming through the federal and even the state for energy resources.
Yep.
So to be a part of this board, to get even technical assistance or whatever will be significant. I know that we've had discussion in our ARPA meetings, and this is a plug out there that we are looking at looking for an energy position, possibly through ARPA or however we may be able to do it, to help us with this, because like you said, we cannot, what we've been doing within the administration is because we've got good directors, great directors and people doing jobs. We can't keep adding more and more to them. We're coming to a point where they just can't take on anymore. And so that's why we're going to be looking for a person to the just solely uh, just solely concentrate on energy. Because like we said, you know, with the climate change and climate resilience, everything going on, we have an opportunity to, number one, possibly get some tax credits that could be used towards dollars to the tribe
Mhm.
in a grant form, but you know, free money, I guess I'm just going to say, with tax credits, with solar and whatever it may be. So these are opportunities we can't miss out on. So Carol, I don't know who at this point we could appoint, but we do have to, do you know when the next meeting is?
They actually want this by the end of the week.
Okay,
And I'm not sure when the next meeting is, but they are applying for a huge chunk of money. I believe this is the organization that is applying for 100 million.
Hmm.
They were going to apply for like 200 million, and then that would kind of go to the tribes.
okay,
So, and then there's another organization applying that we're a part of, not a part of, but they're keeping us in mind for that pot of money as well. So there's two entities, two groups applying for a lot of money to help
okay, I
this.
guess, and I don't know what the council thinks, but I guess I was kind of going with Carol's recommendation right now, is to see if Luke could attend the meetings right now and then come up with an alternate if they need to know by this week until we can get this going with the energy position.
Actually, I think I would be more comfortable with having Luke be the alternate, because he has a lot on his plate already, and just have him attend until we can get that position filled. And because I think that we should maybe put it out to our directors, even our managers, see if there's somebody that's able or willing to attend, take over this responsibility.
We can do that.
And this will give me a better idea on what other tribes are doing so I can develop the position too.
Yeah,
So
that would be helpful for Luke. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Tara.
I have a comment. Luke, I can be your alternate if you want to in this interim, because that's right up my alley, that type of work.
Okay. So Luke will be the official and Tara the
Yep.
alternate.
I think that sounds like a plan for now until we can get the position hired, just so we can get some representation. And thanks, Tara, because you do have a lot of knowledge in that area. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve first the resolution 2024 for the Midwest Tribal Energy Resources Association? And there is no cost.
No, there's no
Okay.
cost to this.
We have a motion to approve that.
Move.
Moved by Robert. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tara. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried.
Thank you. I'll send you
Make
guys the
which?
bylaws and stuff.
Yep.
So you have all the information.
Thanks, Carol. Good job. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Okay, and Christine Lundamo. Net Lake School catering contract.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm bringing to you the
Oh, she sounds
23,
sick.
24 catering contract between our program and the Net Lake School.
And this is done yearly, right, Christine? Nothing's changed?
We did, they're gonna get 6% more for the meals. We could go up to 7.5, but it wasn't within the USDA funds that we receive. So that's the only change.
Okay, but you can cover the cost of the meals, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You sound very sick, so with that, I hope you get well soon. Any questions for Christine? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the Net Lake School catering contract.
Move.
Moved by Tara. Is there a
Second.
second? Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Get well, Christine.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Okay, next we have Jill Shukard. Next we have Kathy Holman, Burial Fund. Oops. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome.
There it goes. Thank you. So, back in our meeting in February that HR had with council, we had a discussion about raising the funds a little bit.
Mhm.
And I just received, I know everybody's been a little bit backed up, but, there are some attachments from accounting on there. And then the burial fund policy. So
Okay.
we were talking about raising the funeral fund from 6,000 to 7. And then there was a question about the miscellaneous portion from 500 to, we didn't really come up with a amount for that.
And Kathy, can you explain the miscellaneous expenses?
Miscellaneous expenses is paid directly to the family, and they utilize that money for food costs if they decide to if they choose to do that, or to pay for families' hotel rooms if they have family coming from out of town. Gas money, whatever they decide to utilize that $500 for.
Is that, I know that, it says in the policy that there will be one stipend issued per family of the deceased. So how does that get designated? Is it the person that, that calls in and says, you know, so-and-so passed away, here's the verification? The family member that's been designated to access this account, because this is above and beyond the 7,000. This is a different category.
Yeah,
The
this is a
7,000
different-
covers the funeral home itself, the casket and the,
Also, it'll help pay for some of the items we don't pay for.
okay,
State taxes, medical examiner fees, and death certificates. That's some extra things that the miscellaneous can cover with them.
okay.
But the designated representative, it goes in order from the spouse, child, oldest to youngest, parent, siblings, or other next of kin. And I created a designation form for
Okay.
families to utilize.
Okay.
Because some families are so spread out across the country that the immediate person is not available, so they can email back and forth and get
Oh.
that form filled out. So
Okay.
they usually designate the closest family member to assist and plan the burial depending on where the person's located
Okay,
within the United States too.
okay.
So what you're asking is for official approval to raise it up from 6,000 to 7,000. And then you're looking for a recommendation for the miscellaneous amount?
Yeah, based on whatever you guys think, because I know inflation and just the way gas prices are going right now, a lot of people are having a hard time being able to get here or
Mhm.
anything with some of their families' burials.
If we raised it to 750 for the miscellaneous, would the budget be able to sustain that, Kim?
Last year, it seemed like it was quite a bit more. But let's see.
miscellaneous one.
The funding comes from,
Fortune.
our, casino revenue, right?
It's kind of hard to determine, I would say too, because of COVID. Because COVID is still here and it's still impacting people. So it kind of added a little boost to I think the people that get deceased by, not normal means, I guess, the pandemic did add an increase to that.
So I'm kind of wondering if we should see if we could get some answers from, Fortune Bay, see if we go to what, 7,000 and we raise it up to 750. And the money that they give us, can they increase it a little bit or? It's kind of hard to say, yeah, approve it, then turn around and say, oh, we can't do it.
I think there's a lot of funding issues that we're coming into with, Fortune Bay. We've kind of just left that at that one level with Fortune Bay. And so Kim, do you know of any other resources other than Fortune Bay?
No, because we have a lot of things that we have to sort through with the budgets yet, and we're getting there, getting ready to start do that. Because there's some other big programs that you need to, it's hard to take one little item outside of everything before you've looked at everything is the challenge.
Mhm.
It's really hard. I was just gonna say Fortune Bay just emailed me while we were in the meeting and their level is the same as last year.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know how they're doing.
And I hate to
Revenue.
keep going back to this fund, but there is that aid to tribal government. We were talking yesterday regarding the public safety aid dollars that are coming through the state one time only to get a tribal police officer posted immediately so we can get, because we're down on police officers here. I just advertise that. But anyway, sorry about that. But I mean, we're running into a lot of funding issues, but that aid to tribal government, we're trying to get specified through this, or not specified, but a definite date when those dollars are going to be distributed, because the Department of Revenue said one thing, and when we went to the governor's summit, they said another one. And so getting that clarified would be very helpful in helping us determine what we can and can't do. But I would like to use that tribal, if it's 7,000, I really think it's a hardship for families now when trying to take care of those needs when a family member passes on. And like Kathy said, the increased costs in gas, the increased costs in food, the inflation. I just think I think we do need to do it. And we're in a new fiscal year, October 1. So if we do this, when will it be effective? Because it's already a new fiscal year. Could we say maybe by November 1st, or I don't know, because right now we have had a death in the community, passing of an individual, which our condolences go out to the family yesterday. So I don't know, Council, what do you think?
Do we have any, was there any carryover in that budget?
Yeah. So if there is, I don't see that it would be much, honestly.
Mhm.
Because of the number of burials we had in the past year. And just, and the cost of the caskets and the services from the funeral homes
Mhm.
has raised. So, I mean, even taking off the deductions that we don't pay for, a lot of people are having to pay over and over the amount.
So when is this, tribal aid money's coming in?
I just mentioned that we're trying to get that determined. We haven't had I've been in contact with the state every day this week on that, so we haven't got a definite date yet. There was a comment on there from Jackie Wilson. Okay, hold on, Kim. We'll get the question asked to the council because we can't see. Yeah.
Jackie asks, what about the federal dollars available to assist tribes with burials if they reside on the reservation? I have heard them mentioned before from a funeral home employee.
Okay, Kim, go ahead. You want to mention that? Go to the mic before you state one word. I see you're ready to go.
I forget to push the button. I know Jackie has mentioned it before and we had looked a few places, but I don't know, I have never been able to find something. But what I was gonna suggest is, why don't you go to the 7,000 for now, and then when we get our budgets done, if, then, you know, you can always up the amount later in the year too.
Well, if we go to 7,000, then we'd have to, I would recommend also going to, for the miscellaneous, to 750.
I agree. Yeah, Kim, thank you. We will do that. And it is the beginning of the fiscal year, so technically the money will be there. Right now, it's just, we'll have to look for other resources and that aid to tribal government issue. Kathy, can you do or Jackie Wilson, can you find out who that funeral home is and ask if they're aware, or whoever made that comment about the federal funding, what they're talking about? Because that would be very helpful for us as well. So,
And I'll look into it
Okay,
too and
thank
try
you.
to find out a little bit more information on it. And if I find it, I'll let
thank you.
people
Let
know.
Kim know. Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the increase to the burial fund effective 10/1 this fiscal year? 10/1, what is it? 2023 to 7,000. And that goes into what, Kathy? Just the what is that department? What is that? Maximum benefit of 7,000 rather than 6,000, an increase of $1,000 and a $750 cap on the miscellaneous, which would be a $250 increase to the miscellaneous item. Do we have a motion to approve that for the burial fund effective 10/1/2023?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Shane, seconded by Tara. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Thank you, McWitch Kathy. Next, we have Nikki Irving with the employee ID badge policy. Good morning, Nikki.
Morning. Hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So yeah, it was just brought to us that we need to come up with all the employees need to start wearing badges and worn while they're at work, so we come up with a policy. I guess just some key points in it is just when they should be wearing it, it should be at all times, regardless of where their location is. While conducting business, represent and voice for it regardless of your location. Let's see.
On work hours kind of thing, and
Yep,
so it's visible at all times for people.
Yep.
And Jeff reviewed the policy,
yes.
and I've noticed this in other tribal governments, especially like Fond du Lac. Even their tribal council wears employee ID badges. And so I think that's a good idea. The reason this policy came up is we had an incident here at Boys Fort at Net Lake where someone was posing as a housing maintenance person and went to a home on the reservation and said they wanted to do some work there. And one of the kids were home and let them in. And so, we think that we should all be wearing those badges anyway, on official capacity. So I'm glad that you brought this badge policy. And then there's a form there. And if people do lose them, there is a $20 fee. But I think it's just a safety issue, because sometimes we get new employees and we don't even know sometimes who they are until maybe a tribal council meeting or until we meet them regarding an issue. So I think it's a good policy, Nikki. Do you guys have any questions on the policy? If not, do we have a motion to approve the employee ID badge policy? When do we want this effective? Because, employees will have to get their IDs and stuff. I don't know how many employees actually have their IDs right now, so they will have to get those. So maybe by when?
I was
we do
gonna
it?
suggest maybe November 1.
Okay,
Hopefully that should be enough time to get all the employee IDs done. At
Could we
least
do it?
most of them anyway.
okay. Luke,
Could we do it effective after the HR assessment?
we're
Would
still
be-
gonna need we're still gonna need the badges.
Okay.
So I would guess I go with Nikki with the November 1. You guys okay with November 1? Okay.
Does this mean that everybody has to come into HR or?
And I would think, Kath,
Yeah.
can you get them at like for the Vermilion staff? How do we do that?
Yeah.
And Jackie's Jackie and Din and them. I'm sorry, Wendy. I call Wendy Drift in. My apologies. Nicknames.
Yep. So, we are available pretty much Monday through Friday, regular business hours. Except on like holidays or emergency closures for people to come in and get their badges. We amended the form, so the supervisor does not have to sign off on it. But we can check their, employee record and their, folders
Can
to
you
make
do it?
sure they're employees
Okay.
of the tribal government.
Can you do badges in Vermilion is my question.
No,
So they
not
have
at
to
this
come
point in
here.
time.
It's inner office
They have to have a
things
picture
or?
taken.
Oh, good.
Yep, and I only have one computer system right now
Okay.
that is available to do the employee badges.
So I guess I'd like to request that the supervisors and directors give the employees flexibility to get their badges. Because they're going to have to come over here just due to the fact that we don't have any other opportunity available for them on site in Vermilion. Okay,
And
Mara?
I'll work with Kathy to develop a schedule so that people aren't all coming in at once.
Oh, good idea. Okay, so contact Kathy Holman or HR. Okay. Go ahead, Tara, were you going to say something?
I was gonna ask then, so if we're having the supervisors or directors, um, push back a date or whatever, so it's not, so we're still gonna do effective November 1, but then the employees are going to have leeway on that? So should we just push it back further? I'm sure that's a huge task for,
Yeah.
for enrollment to do.
November 15th, maybe?
Well,
Or December 1?
My recommendation would be wait till HR assessment is done because this should be a part of the HR onboarding process. So when they come in, they take the picture and then once we get our new software in, all that will be on the software. They'll get their new badge. It'll kind of be a more easier process because in the software, all employees will have their own page as well. But with the badges, I mean, that should be an onboarding process, kind of like their first or second day here. So then they won't have to leave work or whatever to come get the badge.
Kim?
The software system is probably at minimum 6 months out. But I think if they had because you save the picture, right? So the picture file can be loaded into the new stuff. You don't? Yeah,
After so long, then we get rid of the picture. Because I mean, if it's more than 6 months out, that's probably not because people change or whatever, issues, health or whatever. So we like to keep them pretty much as up to date as we can.
Brenda?
The software for the IDs is the tribal enrollment software. It's not the HR software. So, waiting for the HR assessment to be done, shouldn't be an issue. We would be able to issue the IDs now and not wait for the assessment.
Thank you, Miranda. I see Jeff has his hand up as well.
Yeah, good morning. I just wanted to mention that in planning kind of for an effective date, one other piece of this is that it does include visitor badges. So I know that there'll be a process and probably some training for issuance of visitor badges at the front desk, and that is included in this at the end on number 10. So I just wanted to note that that's another piece that when you do make it effective, will be a requirement under this too.
So maybe we should go with it's October now. Maybe a December 1 or January 1 start date, because this is going to take some time. Any comments?
I was waiting for Miranda to answer, but I would say January 1, because that gives you ample time, because like, I'm thinking I gotta have Renee order like badge holders and clips and get stuff in place. You probably have to get supplies.
I did already order some badges and badge clips.
Okay.
And I have been trying to keep up on keeping between the tribal enrollment cards and our employee badges. I've been trying to keep up and making sure we have enough on hand.
Miranda, what do you think for a start date? Because it's coming into your department, so do you have
I
an-
think January 1 would be a real doable
Okay.
goal. Then that gives, employees plenty of time to get here. But the one thing is, any current employee badges will need to have a new one. The reason for that is our current employee badges have full names on them and the employee badges do not. So even if you
okay.
have a current employee badge, employees will need to get a new one.
Yep, so everybody has to get new badges, turn in your old badges, and we'll start out fresh and make it effective January 1. Okay?
I have a question on that then too, because Miranda said the new badges won't have full names on it. Like I've had to get an employee badge with my, previous to go testify at federal court. And it had to have like my full name on it to even get into the courtroom stuff. Is that something different, or do we just, and maybe that's a Jeff question, it's just, there's an oddball thing there once in a while.
I think we can keep the old badges for
Okay.
purposes like that, but
Uh-huh.
the new badges, in special circumstances, we can probably issue the old badges with the full name on there. But for display purposes throughout the workday, it's just going to have your last initial.
The other thing I have a question on, what you brought a point up is when you go to conferences or whatever, if you're a government employee, you have to show a government ID to get the government rate. And you would have to have your full name on there.
Yeah,
I
that
think-
would be a situation where we would use we could still issue the full name badge,
Okay.
but that should not be displayed as the employee ID badge for, daily use.
Okay.
And also some of our badges have their birth dates on them.
Oh.
One of mine, my original one when I started in
Okay.
human
Okay.
resources, excuse me, had my birth date on it.
My original one has my social security on it.
Holy, how old is that, Kim Griner?
It's ancient. It's going at a museum.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the employee ID badge policy effective January 1? And this will be for current new employees, and the contact is the HR department. Do we have a motion to approve the policy? Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tara. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried.
I'll be going home with my new employee badge.
Okay, thank you very much, Nikki and Kathy and everybody else. Good job. Next, we have Pam Hughes with the International Falls Prevention Program, and I believe it's Dr. Laura Palumbo? I'm not sure. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, I guess I'm just going to start with a little background history on the International Falls program. I started working in that program 1981. And at that time, it was Minnesota Chippewa tribe that had the grant, and they had had that for several years before I started. And then it was around 2005, early 2006, that Gary Adams and Kathy, when Kathy was working at Health, were involved in having it where Boys Fort assumed the grant contract from Minnesota Chippewa tribe. And so I guess I was in that position for, it was several years, even after Boys Fort assumed it. So currently, there has not been a staff person in that office since July of 2022. So the majority of the goals and objectives have not been provided to the youth and their families, and it's kind of disheartening because I'd worked in that program for so long, but even after I left, I seen successes that happened. One of the big successes was the Ojibwe Knowledge Bowls, and where, like at our end of the year banquets, the kids that participated in those knowledge bowls, their trophies would be brought, their medals would be brought. And we often heard the younger kids saying that they couldn't wait until they got older to be involved in that. And so from that, our graduation rates actually really improved in the International Falls District. And so, there's quite a few services that the community is currently going without. The families, the kids, they always knew where they could come, it just, the activities or services that were provided. I mean, there was just a wide range of them, not just that was in the contract, but there was so much more that was provided to the community. So for me, I'm asking once again that the regents of the University of Minnesota, if they could assume the grant contract, which right now the grant contract will end June of 2024. It's about $168,000 a year. And right now there's approximately 100 Native kids that attend the school in International Falls, and roughly about 3 of those are Boys Fort band members. Tom is from the International Falls School District, and he oversees the Indian Education Program. And, we've been trying to really pinpoint some numbers. And so, and I think accounting could probably do it better by the zip code, but we thought there might be about 10 Boys Fort families, band members, in the International Falls area. The rest of the Indian students and families, the majority of them come from Canada. There are some from White Earth, Red Lake, Leech Lake, but the majority are from Canada. And so, right, I, as part of my current position at UMD, I do travel up to International Falls and do some work with Tom and Val, the kids, the families. They still reach out to me. Coochin County reaches out to me for kids that are in the court system and stuff. This week I did attend a court hearing with one of our Indian kids, and I guess actually it was the whole family and 3 children, which I have been attending those court hearings and providing different referrals and stuff for the one child because he's addicted to fentanyl. And so there are still services that I provide up there. I do many times am paying out of my pocket and going to battalion distribution to get snacks and stuff for the elementary kids and the high school kids. So it's just I would just really like the University of Minnesota to take over the program. I do know that the International Falls community had a petition going around. And I don't recall how many signatures were on it, but there were quite a few. So, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on it, but it's just something that I am still wanting to pursue along with UMD. Dr. Palombi, do you have anything that you would like to say?
No, I just, we've seen how beneficial these prevention grants and services are for kids, and we just really want that for our Boys Fort youth. So just looking at ways that we can be creative to make sure that we can invest that money into the community where it belongs.
Okay, do you mind, Dan, could you come up to the mic, please? I'm not sure if Dr. Palombi is aware that we do have a new CEO with Health and Human Services, Dan Rabideau, right here, Dan. Dan Rabideau, and he's, I don't know, on a month now? Are you on a month for being with us? Little over a month, so maybe if you can just give a little, yeah, press the button so it's red. Okay, go ahead, Dan. Maybe I guess what I'd like to suggest, because Dan is new, some comments. I know that you're trying to dig into the programs and stuff, being new. Any comments on this or what you'd like to do? Maybe meet with Pam or Dr. Palombi or I don't know what, but
Yeah, the first and foremost, I certainly want to recognize and respect the passion that Pam is bringing to the area, and thank her for doing that. Ultimately, the goal is to serve Boys Fort and other tribal members that this is intended to be. And um, as a representative of Boys Fort, I want to make sure that those services are being delivered in the best possible way by the best possible people. And at this time, it's a little premature for me to say one way or the other where we can fulfill that. At the same time, I do know that we have recently been meeting with representatives at the school. We have been providing funding for the Quiz Bowl and want to make sure that we continue to do that, as well as start to create some of the ongoing monthly cultural things within the community for the students and the families that have participated. One of the challenges that we've had, and in talking with members from the school, is acquiring the list of tribal members that are in that area. And so one of the gaps we currently have is trying to communicate with those about events or trying to plan events in which we can make sure that invitations go out to the appropriate people versus just a blanket flyer being posted. So overall, knowing that we're going down a path of interviewing some individuals for that area, I would ask for some additional time and consideration before a final decision is made, even to such extent that I'm confident we can collaborate with Pam and those that have been serving the area to figure out some mechanism, at least to get us through this grant cycle. At which time will provide me enough opportunity to work with our team to determine whether or not we're the best fit. And rather than possibly just relinquishing this at this time mid-grant cycle, it may behoove us to just complete this grant cycle and turn it over, or when we reapply, if we were to reapply on behalf of Boys Fort, really make a strong case for why we're the best ones to provide the service. Because at the end of the day, I believe the tribal council, as well as myself and our team members, and I'm sure Pam would suggest the same, as we want the services to be provided. So I don't want this to be any type of a control thing, but rather a service delivery decision. And so I'd respectfully just ask for some additional time, give me an opportunity to connect with Pam and any other representatives from the University of Minnesota to see how we can fulfill this now. And in a month or two, if we determine that it's best to relinquish it, then I would come with a recommendation, and we already have someone willing to take that on.
Thank you, Dan. I think that's a, excuse me, Shane. Thank you, Dan. I think that's a good synopsis. Go ahead, Shane.
All I was gonna say is that yes, I agree with Dan, is that because we had a changeover in staff, and that Dan is also new, he's only been a month in, and that, regarding the position itself, how long has it been posted? It's been posted numerous times, and I do believe it's half-time, so I think that maybe we look at increasing it to full-time. And if so, do we have the funds to do that?
One other
Hey,
area,
Shane.
oh, go ahead. Oh, excuse me, go ahead.
I was just gonna kind of respond to Shane's question. So as part of the HRSA grant through University of Minnesota, we did have wrote in there for 50% for that position in International Falls. Currently, those dollars are no longer available, but I know with all the years of work that I've done with DHS, that even like Christine and them at DHS that or oversee the grant funding, but that could easily be done by a budget revision. And if I remember correctly, I think the last staff person in there, who was my daughter, but I did not supervise her, Lynette did. I think she was doing 32 hours a week. And so with the budget, that's not my decision, but I know there's dollars in there that would allow to have somebody full-time.
Thank you. David?
Hey Pam, how's it going?
Hey,
Squid here.
Squidge.
So yeah, I just want to say that I know I've currently been helping with this. I recently got slid into the Boys for Prevention program, and we did meet with Christine. So we are currently trying to figure out, get the situation resolved and get these funds spent. And I know it's been a challenge since you've been gone because I don't believe nothing's been really done with this grant. So like I said, we're addressing this now. We met with Christine, I think we have a good plan going forward. And if it does get overwhelming, I know a lot of us are taking on a lot of things and, we're busy doing all these other stuff. And, we do need help with various stuff, and it'd be good to see a little more help being offered. And, I really appreciate you trying to do your things as well. And that was one thing too that I would like to do is at some point, once we get this figured out, I would like to go to the falls and, show them some ribbon shirts and some ribbon skirts and have that available for the graduates that'll be graduating this next year. So, we did meet with Christine. We are trying to proceed as going forward. And, like I said, I'll do my best as I can, with everything that I'm involved in. I try to keep things going and keep things offered for our band members. So, if it like I said, once we realize or figure out what's going on, if it is best, maybe it would be, we might have to let you guys take it over. Like I said, like Dan said, we could try continue to keep this rolling because I know you were passionate about this and we want to keep it going too. And I'll do my best too. I know when you originally brought me on board, it's kind of fallen. A lot of the things I was doing within the community fell within the grant work plan that you had written for this grant. So that was one of the things when I was brought on board with kind of doing the same stuff that you had written for the grant guidelines for this. So I'll do my best, just let you know. We'll keep this rolling, and we got to keep these funding within for Boys Forward, because it is for our Boys Forward people.
Me good, Squidge. And Squidge, there's two grants. There's two prevention grants. One, I think is about 135,000. that's specific for the Net Lake and Vermilion community. And then the other one, and that's per year, but 168,000 per year for the International Falls program. So there are two prevention grants that Boys Sport has.
Yep, I understand that.
Well, it sounds like we all are very passionate about the services that need to be provided. Thank you, David, for that. And thank you, Dan and Pam. And I think that by waiting and working this out, and Pam, feel free to welcome, Dan, I think will be reaching out to you and David, so that we can finish this year out and see that we can get a person in there to get these services. It makes a big difference. The reason why I say that is I listened to Robert Moyer, our tribal council rep, who came from the International Falls area as a kid, and how that program was very successful and how he looked forward to it, and other kids up in the Falls area, whether they're band members or not. All our Native kids are needing these services now more so than ever, especially when you talk about a child that is addicted, or a student that's addicted to fentanyl. These are terrible things that are happening nowadays with our kids, and those services are very much needed. So I think with a team effort, I think it'd be a great thing to finish out the year, and like Dan said, give them the opportunity to see what we can do, but work together. So I really look forward to that, and I think that's a good recommendation, Dan.
And, being from the Falls and knowing as being a kid that grew up there, we weren't separated by bands or nothing. We were family. We were friends. We didn't care if you were from Manitou or Canada or White Earth or Red Lake. I mean, that was never an issue. Everything that was done through, I used to love this place. It was called the North American Indian Fellowship Center. And the people that went there, it was great for the community. I worked summer youth there when I was a kid. I worked bingo there, so I seen a lot, and I never knew Boys for It. I knew MCT was there. I didn't know, the real history of everything. I just knew we were all Indians, and this helped us together as kids. I might not used all the programs, but we all knew each other, and we all just, it was like one nice little family, just like what we got here in Net Lake, what we got in Vermilion. It's everybody knew everybody, and it was no separation. So I just want everybody to know, I felt, it was great for everybody, not just Boys for It, but we do have people up there that would benefit from this program. So thank you.
Junior,
Oh.
do you remember the mini bikes, Junior?
So what was that again?
Bikes.
The mini bikes?
They kind of, they were before my time. I
Yeah.
remember the trails because we used
Yep.
to be able to walk them. All the bikes were sold or not running. I
Right.
think, I'm sure my brother had a big part in helping bust them up some,
Right.
they were, I don't know about my sisters, but I know, yeah, I didn't get to ride them. I was too young, I guess, at the time. Yeah.
Carol?
I just had a question. I'm not sure where the funding source is for that program, but if it's eligible, why aren't we applying for Virginia, Duluth, Bemidji, and the cities to provide those same services?
Good question.
One thing for Dan is that, I would like to know the budgets and, the expenses. And, when you find that out, to, send a copy to the tribal council and also the executive director. And, moving forward, if you, like I said, with the position, You know, if you can increase it to full-time, you know, and if you still can't get it, filled, maybe you should looking at increasing the salary or adjusting the salary. You know, but I do agree that, you know, that we need to get this going and we need services provided up there to our people up there. Thank you.
Okay,
I
oh,
have
go
some
ahead, Tara.
suggestions. I believe in you, Squidge, for everything that you touch. It seems like all your programs just shine. I just want to let you know that. And under Dan's leadership, I think that we can make iFalls successful again. But I caution because it's been happening with a lack of information sharing. That's where we find ourselves, where we aren't able to provide services because we're running around trying to find them. So sharing of information, cross-training, get something going during onboarding when we do hire somebody. So then everybody knows their roles. There's all different kinds of, people and stations happening. So it's run correctly. Succession planning, so we don't find ourselves in this issue again. And again, budgeting, that needs to be looked at very closely. Following our procurement policies to the T, and making sure to secure that IFAL office because it's quite a bit of ways from, Net Lake here or Vermilion. So we need to be doing those types of things in order to keep that office secure and running smoothly. So those things were lacking before, but I think that if we make a plan, follow it, we can provide successful services. Thanks.
I think with that being said too, you know, like I know Pam was pretty passionate about this stuff, you know, she was always out in the community at these things. And, you know, I know John, he's in there now and he's been at our events now too. So, you know, it's just about people that in those positions, they need to come out and meet these community members that they typically might not see, which I think is huge. So, you know, it'd be good to see people at these events. When we have these events, you know, they gotta be out in the community meeting people that they typically might not see at coming to the office or whatever. Just throwing that out there.
Good idea, Squidge. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're good with waiting and seeing and getting a meeting together, or whoever you guys can decide. Dan will give you the ability to do what you need to do and get whoever you need at the table, and we'll get this program going. Okay, Pam?
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Palami.
Thanks.
So do we need a official action on this one then?
No. Okay, next we have Terry Morrison with the application and guidelines for Bois Fork Community Health Home Modification Program. Good morning, Terry. Yeah, you have long legs to do that long walk. Double time for me. Anyway, good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning. So I am bringing before you guys the program guidelines and application form for the home modification program. Last time I was in here, I brought a grant in and I mentioned the program. So I've been working with Jeff on developing this. So it is up to, so first they need to live on reservation. We had a limited amount of funds. I knew that Teresa Morrison already had that other program going. And this is for everyone that lives on res.
Okay.
They do not need to be enrolled here. We have a huge population of elders that have lived here their entire lives. And they have never been able to access any programs.
Oh.
And they need ramps. They need work on some work on their homes. So I'm using this program to hopefully get those accessibility needs done for them. That's going to be the focus of the program, is to do ramps, any home modifications that they need to access their home, like bathrooms, so like a walk-in tub, grab bars, if they are in a wheelchair, if they need their doorways widened, that sort of thing.
Okay. And I
So
see that you said Jeff did review this.
Jeff actually made the guidelines.
Is this a one-time?
So one
Grant?
time I have funding right now through March 31st. I think we have this open through February 1st or until we run out of money. I think I have about $213,000.
Okay.
So it's about at 8,000 a piece. It's a, I think I did the math and it was like either 23 or 27, 23 households, I think.
23 households at
Yep.
that figure? Okay.
So in the average cost of a ramp, we've been had a few programs, we've been doing them lately, between 3,000 up to, the most expensive one I've seen is 12 or 13.
Okay.
And most elders do not have that money.
Okay.
So
Terry, is it a first come, first serve, or how does that work?
is gonna
Or
be a-
based on need?
it is going to be a first come, first serve, but I do have the ability to, so if someone comes in because they want new flooring, but their flooring is fine because they have to send me a picture, they're going to sit until I can figure out who really needs them. My main focus is going to be accessibility, handicap accessibility,
Okay.
not new appliances and new things.
Just a
So
quick note on that. It is first come, first serve, but the guidelines right now, just based on discussions with Terry, do have a priority for processing of applications by voice for band member elders.
yep.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
So it's going to run similar to what Teresa Morrison has, where they are responsible for getting the quote. The quote is in their name. I pay the contractor directly.
Any income requirements, Donna Hoffa?
There are not any income requirements on here. And the reasoning is most elders don't have $3,000 to $8,000 sitting for a ramp. And that's the last thing they will budget their money for usually.
Yeah.
So.
What,
Yep.
Oh, come to the mic. Sorry, Lance. Sorry to do that to you, but you got to come to the mic.
Okay, so they have to live on the reservation. Is there any residency verification that you guys are going to
They
require?
have to submit the address and then initial, and then I would have the ability to verify that with someone.
Okay.
Yep.
Just double checking
Yep.
there.
Thank you,
Because,
Lance. Oops.
some programs require like a lease or something like that, and
Yeah.
those are not always available, so.
Yep, I won't be.
Make which, Lance?
So we will also be doing housing homes. So if with the approval, and I've talked to Janelle, both Janelle and Robbie, so they're aware of it. And Janelle's request was just, and she's not here, was that I would let her know who we're doing and check in with them before we do it.
so the, I got a question. So the elder or disabled individual, just has to be a resident within the home,
Mhm.
not the actual homeowner or head of household or how, because we run into that issue too.
I know we do. I would, if it's an accessibility issue, if they just want a fridge and it's not their house, probably not. But if they're living there and they need a ramp to get in the house, yeah. So it's not real clear spelled out. Jeff, do you have a comment on that?
Right now, you don't have to be the head of the household. There's a restriction that you can't have multiple individuals receiving like double assistance within the same household. So that is something that's in the policy, but no, I mean, I think this could provide assistance to someone who is, a 18 or 19-year-old living in the house, or something that is a child but is still living in their parents' home who still needs accessibility assistance or something like that.
Terry, when you say disabled, that's where they're certified disabled through Social Security, or what do you use as a disabled?
Written is considered disabled if they have been deemed disabled under a recognized government program or by a qualified medical provider. So I would need a note from the provider saying that they would need, they're disabled and they would need the accessibility.
Two questions that I have is this gonna be income-based?
No, there's no income on this at all.
And my second question is that, let's say an elder applies and they get their furnace repaired or replaced, and then a couple months down the road, their water heater gives out. Will they be able to come back and reapply?
If not, if they spent their whole $8,000. There's an $8,000 limit on this.
Okay, alrighty, thank you.
Well, and if there's money.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a very short term.
Yeah, but you know, I think that, you know, it sounds like a great program. We have a lot of disabled individuals that need ramps. We have a lot of people that need grab bars. We have a lot of people that fall or whatever. So I think this is an excellent program. Thanks for writing the grant, Terry. I want to commend our staff on trying to address some of the issues that we face. And our grant writers, our people that write grants, our directors, our service providers, all our staff, trying to help fill those little gaps as much as we can. So I think it's going to be a great program for those elders and disabled individuals.
I think, you know, like I said before in previous meetings, is that with myself, I received a furnace from housing when they bought all those furnaces way back when, and mine went kaput, I think my first year in council. And a lot of these furnaces are going beyond their shelf life now, so I think you're probably gonna get a lot of requests for furnaces from our elders. I'm grateful that this program came through. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions for Terry on this program? Any online? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry,
One
Terry.
quick one, really quick. What is your advertising gonna be? How are you gonna get, I know you have a list of, elders
I
for.
have a list
you know,
already of a few that have talked to me.
What about new elders?
I would like to mail it out to OnRes, because I think Kim Accounting has a list.
Would it be possible for, I know you take care of CHRs.
Mhm.
And I know they don't go into homes anymore, but
They do.
could they bring, oh, they do.
Mhm.
Could they bring that, you
Yep.
know,
So
door to
I'm
door?
hoping that we
Kathy's
can-
been talking about door to door, you know, and that always helps. But I do think that sometimes elders do need a little bit help filling out that
Mhm.
information and making sure that they're
And they-
qualified.
Up till now, anytime I have a ramp program, they've been my people that
So
go in.
whoever is the point person on this, that, that needs to be relayed very well, you know, so I just wanted to make sure it gets out to the audience that it needs to get to. And then the point person.
I know, because there's always some we miss.
Kim?
We do have the capability of sorting by zip code. And then we can sort by elder too. We have a field in there. From experience, postcards seem to work the best if you're going to do a mailing, because generally when they look at a regular envelope from us, people don't take, not everyone, you know, from experience, the postcards seem to get better response. And the other suggestion is, if I didn't hear if you were going to do a Laserfish application or not.
I have not done a Laserfish. Based on that, it's just OnRes. Do you think I need to?
If you wanted to, what I was going to suggest is then when you had your CHRs out, they bring their, you know, when they go to see them, they just bring their iPad with them and help them fill it out on the spot. That's all I was, you know,
Yeah.
just some things, because I know some of the elders don't have the technology stuff, but it would help, could help.
Okay. And it's probably going to be confusing because I keep getting calls for the housing one. Because our names are real similar, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Terry? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the application and guidelines for Boys Fort Community Health Home Modification Program. Effective right away, I guess, right? Moved by Shane, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tara, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Good job, Terry.
Thank you.
You'll be getting calls this afternoon, I bet.
Am I able to do Jill and Amber Zapata's? Is that okay? So Jill's, I believe, has already been signed. 10-2. So that was a grant application that was signed 10-2. And yep, Jill's first. So according to the resolution that Jeff provided me, if it doesn't have an in-kind, it can be signed by the chair. So I asked Jill to send it directly to you. It did go through legal on 8/24/23. Yep. Do anything with that one? No. And then Amber Zapata. So hold on, I gotta find. Yes, this is a requirement of her grant. This is an annual contract that she has to do. It is their reporting software. So it's just a renewal of the contract. Yep.
Okay, they're already using it. Sorry, I forgot to turn my mic on. Okay, any questions on the SnapEd Seeds contract with Software TouchCore? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve that.
Move.
Moved by Travis,
Second.
second by Tara. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Thanks, Terry. Good job. Get ready for those phones to start ringing. Next, we have Julie, our pharmacist with the Boys Fort Pharmacy.
Hello, can you
Modification.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay. So I'm here to present on possible pseudoephedrine dispensing at both the Boys Fort Net Lake and Vermilion pharmacies. So with the recent FDA news of phenylephrine not being an effective oral decongestant, we currently don't have anything available at the Boys Fort pharmacies orally by over-the-counter or by prescription for patients who are suffering from congestion. So it was brought to my attention by Dr. Dury that who is our medical director, that he would like us to have pseudoephedrine available to patients who are suffering from congestion. So just some background on what pseudoephedrine is. It technically is a controlled substance. It's the lowest one, control 5, and that is because it is a methamphetamine precursor drug, so it can be used to make methamphetamine. Minnesota currently has laws around Sudafed on how much people can get per 30 days, per transaction. And it's only available behind the counter, and a person has to show a valid driver's license in order to purchase it. So I spoke with Megan, the Vermilion pharmacist, on kind of what we thought would be the best route going forward if we wanted to dispense pseudoephedrine at the pharmacies. We thought that it would be best if it was dispensed by prescription only. That way the patient's being evaluated by the provider that they truly do have congestion. And then we believe that this would help prevent any misuse of the medication. So we know that we would have documentation in our system that a patient got, one box, so they would only be able to get we would still abide by the laws. They would only be able to get 2 boxes per 30 days, still have to show a valid ID, and everything. But because it's a controlled substance, I knew it needed to be brought to tribal council. And also because it's a methamphetamine precursor drug, I didn't know how you guys felt about it. The other option we could continue to have patients we could send the prescription to Frank's and then it would be covered under PRC and the patient could get it there. There are nasal decongestants available, nasal spray decongestants. They're just, they have some like stipulations where they can only be used for 3 days and they tend to cause rebound congestion and a lot of patients don't like them. So the oral tablet is definitely more effective and patients are more compliant with it. So I just wanted to present it to you guys. Whatever you think, we're okay with any route going forward, but we thought the safest way would be by prescription only. So I guess whatever your guys' thoughts are. Or
Okay,
if there's any questions.
I'm glad that, you guys are on top of this because, I mean, decongestant, sometimes I need that decongestant, and I think a lot of us do with colds or asthma or allergies or whatever, but I think the the way you have to get this pseudoephedrine or whatever Sudafed, I'm just going to say, the way you have it set up with getting a prescription from the doc, I think is a good one. Because I know they do monitor it because it is used in the manufacturing of methamphetamine. So I think anything that we can help to get our patients what they need here rather than go to Frank's is better. So I'm okay with that. I don't, Tara?
I just have, the memo here says just waiting on Jeff. So is he still online?
Yeah, here.
Waiting on his approval or his recommendation or what was?
I can maybe give a little bit of context to that. When this, I had a discussion with Leah yesterday, and part of, I think part of the plan to come to council with the request was just based on obviously, getting consent and approval and being transparent about the need. But it was also based on, Leah had indicated that she thought that there was a prior resolution that was adopted by council that specifically said that any controlled or scheduled medication is not going to be available at the pharmacy or through the clinic. And so this technically, because Sudafed or pseudoephedrine is scheduled, it would be an exception to that. And I said, maybe we should try to get that resolution so council at least knows or sees what that prior policy they adopted was. But so that's where I had that conversation yesterday. I still haven't seen that resolution, but I think regardless, if you choose to approve it today under whatever conditions, I think I would recommend just approving it subject to a resolution that kind of provides a record and refers back to that prior resolution if there is one that exists.
I think that's a great question. I've been here for 7.5 years and was just told that the pharmacies don't dispense controlled substances, but I've never actually seen the policy. So I think it would be good if if we had a policy that we have it available to us and then we can adjust it for Sudafed from there. But yeah, so that was just going by what I was told. So
Right.
And I did do a quick search and couldn't find anything, a resolution regarding this, so.
Any other comments or for Julie or Jeff?
Did IHS approve this?
They don't need to do that because we're a self-governance tribe. This is an internal.
Okay. Will the insurance companies, the patient's insurance company pay for it?
actually, yes. So Sudogest is not billable to most patients' insurances, but there are a lot of insurances that will pay us for pseudoephedrine. So it is actually billable, which is nice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if no other questions, are you guys okay with approving a motion to allow the Sudafed to be administered within the Bois Forte Pharmacy per the recommendations of our pharmacists with and Dr. Dury and Jeff input to get a prescription for the Sudafed?
I'll move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
I'd like to add clarification of the resolution, if there is one out there,
Oh, yes.
make sure that we follow those guidelines, if we need to make a new resolution, if we need to rescind the other. So
We'll look for that.
I'll approve or I'll second upon, clarification of the resolution.
Okay, thank you, Tara. And we'll see if we can find that. And maybe Jeff, if you could look in Mark Anderson's old files or something.
Yeah, if
Okay.
Regina can't find it, it's likely not there, whether it's in minutes or a resolution, but I'll certainly look in Mark's files as well, in our files, and see if I can find anything.
Okay, Regina?
I just did a quick search. I'll look the.
Okay, all right, we'll look for it in a little more detailed manner, but okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Tony Wakeham up. Okay, she's not on either, okay. Next, we have Luke, and I don't, you don't have anything, Luke?
No, but can I move that 50-50 raffle? She just needed council approval for she wanted this done last meeting, but it was the same day as the last RTG meeting.
Oh, okay.
Um,
For the powwow?
yep.
Oh. Do we have a motion to approve a 50-50 raffle and raffle for various items donated for the, is it the Miigwech Monoman powwow?
Yep.
Move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay, next we have Shane with the resolution on Tara's position.
Actually, before we get going on that, I'd just like to ask Dan, if you could look at the grant funding for the iFalls program and see if it's just limited to iFalls. And then let the council know. Thank you. Now, getting on to my discussion for a resolution regarding the secretary treasurer to do her job. And what I mean by that is for the secretary treasurer to be able to call for an audit or forensic audit without the council interference. And that the secretary treasurer oversees the investigation or audit, whatever it is. And that a budget be set up for that specifically.
Kim? Is Kim here? Kim, can you tell us how the audits are usually done and that type of thing? I guess. Is there a resolution to that? You said resolution. Is there a resolution in place? Is
I'm
that
asking for a resolution.
Oh, you want a resolution? Jeff?
Yeah.
Shane is asking for, go ahead,
go
I'll
ahead.
let you talk.
Well, I think right now, yeah, I mean, we'd have to figure out the details of what specifically you'd want to delegate, you know, as a council to Tara for audits or investigations. I think right now, if it's a financial commitment that goes beyond Luke's authority to sign, then, you know, typically it would be a council. Right now, without a resolution, it would be a council approved thing that the council would have to approve as a whole. So, but council has the authority to delegate, right? You could say under certain circumstances, we delegate to the secretary treasurer the authority to, you know, pursue investigations of a specific category or whatever you wanted to do. I think the devil's in the details for that. So you'd want to have some discussions about specifically what that looks like, under what circumstances, and, you know, how the secretary treasurer would oversee that. But we could put a resolution together, obviously, depending on kind of how council wants to proceed.
Kim?
Well, you had questions for me.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to push my button. Explain the audits and a forensic audit.
Okay, they are two different things.
Okay.
An audit, a regular single audit is one process. So normally we go out and we get RFPs and we engage for X number of years, and they do the required testing for fairness of the financial presentation of the financial statements. They may or may not find fraud in there or embezzlement or whatever. They randomly select things and, you know, they may or may not. So it's not specifically looking for that. A forensic audit is you're specifically looking for something, tends to be focused. They are a lot of work. So I think what Shane is asking is, instead of us, if we need to have a forensic audit, that it gets brought to the council as a whole and the council votes on it, because the contract is over the $3,000 threshold, that Tara has the authority to authorize that. So there's, I'm guessing because of like conflict of interest or something. Is that what you're thinking, Shane, or no?
No, that the secretary treasurer can do it on her own. That the council does not need to be interfering with whatever.
Yep.
That if she wants to order a forensic audit or an audit, the council should not be interfering with that process and let the process play out.
I have a question. So, I guess I but not make the council aware of that audit? I mean, how does that work? Because if it's expending funds too, that we don't know if we have it, like you mentioned a budget for it too?
I think we would have to set some funds aside specifically for forensic audits, you know, typically is what Shane is asking. And we can do that. We can set up a particular fund that is set aside for that.
I guess,
But it comes down to budgeting too, you know.
yeah. And I don't have a problem with that, but I guess what I would suggest is that in the event that the forensic audit is against a tribal council member, I could see that. But if there's a forensic audit within the organization as a whole regarding another employee or whoever it may be, I think the whole council needs to be made aware of that. And the department, if the department that it's involving.
Mhm.
That's just my comment. That's just my comment.
I don't have a problem with either way the council
Yeah.
goes with it, you know.
I don't either.
I understand, I kind of understand where coming in and, you know, of having someone have that authority instead of involved, because the more people you get involved, the more convoluted it gets. And
Exactly.
My comment is I would wholeheartedly accept this. I think this is a good idea. I've been through forensic audits and the annual audit, and then people requesting to see funds or audits or portions of our accounts. I just think it would be beneficial. I'm very thorough. That's what I like to do is investigate, make sure we're following the right policies, procedures, everything's done correctly. Because I've seen it not done correctly in the past. And I've seen, what do you call it? Topsy-turvy ways of doing things. This certain set of people by the letter. Some people aren't. So that's not just a training mechanism, it's a fairness. So I want to be able to see what happened over here. Why is this way? What are the funds we're losing, you know? That's why.
I understand.
In such, there's better ways of doing things and being thorough than hiring a third party at $7,000 a pop or whatever it is and only getting partial is what I think. I think that I'd be very thorough, take it seriously. And if it's not against a council member, then yeah, then that needs to be the entire council. So.
So is there policy procedure, anything stating in what would it be, a job description for secretary treasurer, anything in there now? I mean,
as far as I'm aware of, there is nothing specifically written for this. And I think Tara has looked for it and there isn't anything, you know. Our policy is, because to get an audit, you have to enter into a contract. So contracts 3,000 and less go to Luke. Anything over 3,000 goes to the tribal council for approval. And so that's the step that I believe they're inquiring about, is one of the many steps. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tara.
Add one more. One more thing I'd like to just, one of the main reasons is any of the audits or the forensic audits that have happened with Boys Fort, staff is the one taking care of that, you know? And by me being able to oversee that and going further, that takes that pressure off of staff because I'll just say it, still is fear out there, you know, and they have enough stuff to do. So why don't I take care of that? That's one of the jobs that I think I can do well. And then that provides staff to be able to do their jobs well. So I make sure that policy is followed, you know, and thorough.
So how many forensic audits have we had in the past? I guess what I'm kind of understanding is that Tara would like to, instead of get a contractor, be in charge of that. Is that correct? Am I getting that correct?
Well,
Or
to be-
contracting with someone or how it's
to
that?
oversee the entire process instead of just that core group of people. We don't know what's happening. We don't know if anything's followed correctly. We don't know if council's getting in there to, you know, I don't know. I don't know. And that's what I'd like to be, is the one to oversee.
On the tribal government side, I recall 2. And I'm not sure for the enterprise side. I'm assuming at least 1. And that's just assuming.
And this would not be enterprise side.
No.
I would just like to point out too is that, you know, this is a discussion.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna have to keep going through this process to formalize it and complete it. And stuff that we can think of later on, you know, to add it in there. But the core thing is that to keep the secretary treasurer to be the one to issue that without county interference.
I guess with Shane, I think it needs further discussion with legal, accounting and the council so we can get it right. If that's the direction we're gonna go. And to have the whole scope in there on what it is gonna entail. And then that way we can bring that resolution forward again. So can we do that, council? You okay with that? Okay, and Jeff, you'll be involved and Kim and we'll get together and set up, Luke, if you can set us up on a meeting on that so we can get some ideas and something put up or whatever the council wants to do. We'll discussion and we'll go from there. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, with no other business, I see, oh, no, he didn't have anything. With no other business, I do want to thank everybody for coming today. And do we have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. And again, we're having our sobriety feast tonight. And so it's going to be at 14 May. Oh, so there's a hand up in the audience, in the virtual. I can't see who it is though. Donna? My apologies. Are you there, Donna? Your hand's up.
I was wondering if we can get the minutes posted on the RTC website and the agenda posted somewhere. Don't always know what's on the RTC agenda, and it would be nice to know.
The minutes can't be posted until they're approved, but we can sure as heck put the agenda out there. And it should be on the, it should be posted at least 24 hours prior, I would think. We have a lot of things we need to work on here, so we'll get those out. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody have a good day. And happy fall. Hope to see everybody tonight at the sobriety feast. And have a good day, everybody. Chi-miigwech for attending the meeting.
10:48.
Oh, what? Oh, at 10:48 we adjourned. Sorry. I always forget the time. Thank you.